Welcome to the SolveForEarth.ai podcast, your gateway to the groundbreaking world of artificial intelligence solutions for the planet's most urgent challenges. From climate action to equity, sustainability, and beyond, we explore how AI is transforming ideas into impact. Whether you're ready to kickstart your passion project or want to stay ahead on global solutions, we've got you covered. Tune in, get inspired, and be part of the change. Listen, comment, and share because together we can solve for Earth.
Okay, get ready, because today we're going deep into how the UN's Food and Agriculture Organization, the FAO, is using AI.
AI.
Yeah, artificial intelligence, to fight global hunger and, create a more sustainable future for all of us. We've got their report.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it outlines 11 incredible AI projects. Let me tell you, some of this stuff is straight out of a sci-fi movie. Seriously.
It sounds futuristic, but it's happening now, right?
Yeah.
And it has huge potential to change how everything, how we grow, distribute, and even think about food.
I know, right? I was blown away reading this stuff. But before we get ahead of ourselves, can you remind us what the FAO does exactly?
Sure. The FAO is basically the global champion for, making sure everyone has access to safe and nutritious food, and that agriculture is done in a way that's good for the planet.
And technology, especially AI, it's becoming a key player in their mission, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. The challenges the FAO is dealing with are massive. Things like climate change, growing populations, and resource scarcity. AI, with its ability to analyze tons of data, it's becoming an invaluable tool for finding solutions.
So let's dive into some of these mind-blowing projects. I noticed they're all over the place, but a lot of them have some things in common. What stood out to you?
What's interesting is how the FAO is using AI across their whole operation. They're using it to gather data in totally new ways. Like, they're analyzing it to find these hidden patterns, and they're even providing personalized advice to farmers on the ground.
Yeah, like Project One, where they're using this AI-powered app to interview people.
Yeah.
It's gathering info about the hidden costs and benefits of different food systems. It's like a digital anthropologist out there, gathering insights.
It's super innovative. Think about it. We usually just get hard data on food prices, production, and trade, But this AI is getting people's actual experiences, their struggles, their successes, things traditional statistics just miss.
It's so cool, but a little creepy, right?
Yeah.
Like an AI asking you about your dinner. Did they have any problems with this project?
Well, as with anything new, there were some growing pains. The report mentions how important it is for the AI developers and the food experts to work really closely. You need both the technical side and the understanding of food to make it work.
That makes sense. AI isn't magic. It needs humans, to be truly effective.
Yeah.
Speaking of data, I was really impressed by Project 9, the FAO Data Lab. They're turning AI into a super-powered research assistant.
Totally. They're using things like natural language processing and machine learning to go through mountains of information. Websites, news articles, policy documents, anything you can think of. It's like having a whole team of researchers working 24/7 to extract insights.
So instead of people having to read through a ton of reports, the AI can figure out the key takeaways and the trends. That's super efficient. What kind of effect could this have on the FAO's work?
It helps them stay on top of things, They can spot problems that are just starting, understand different points of view from all over the world, and make better choices, more informed decisions. It's about using technology to, really empower their experts.
And then there's the whole geospatial intelligence thing, which sounds like something from a spy movie, but it's actually being used to help farmers. It's pretty incredible.
Oh, absolutely. The FAO is using satellite imagery, and combining it with AI to get a real-time picture of what's going on the ground, from tracking how crops are growing to monitoring water use.
That brings us to Project 2, the GEO AI Challenge. It's like they put out a call to all the best AI minds to help them identify cropland from space.
It was a huge competition, 71 teams all trying to create the best AI solution. Imagine having an always up-to-date map of the world's cropland. It could completely change how we monitor food security, track deforestation, even get aid to where it's needed most.
71 teams? That's incredible. I bet it was pretty intense. And it's not just about mapping out fields, right? They're also using satellite data to help farmers decide when to plant and harvest.
That's Project 5, and it's all about, crop phenology. It might sound complicated, but it just means the life cycle of a plant. They're using AI to watch these different stages: sprouting, flowering, fruiting, all from space.
So they can actually see from orbit how crops are doing over time.
Yeah.
That's just wild. And by understanding those growth stages, they can predict the best times to plant and harvest.
Exactly. Think about it. If you can get the timing just right, you can increase yields, save water, and just be more efficient with resources. It's a win-win for farmers and for the planet.
Speaking of the big picture, Project 8, the hand-in-hand geospatial platform, sounds, well, huge. Like they're making a Google Earth just for agriculture.
It's a massive project. They're combining information from everywhere, satellite pictures, climate data, soil maps, you name it, to create this complete picture of what agricultural landscapes look like all over the world.
And anyone can just get this information. That's amazing.
It is. It's open access, so anyone can use it to make better decisions. Farmers, researchers, policymakers, anyone. Imagine you're a farmer in a remote village. You could use this platform to see how your land compares to others in the area, to, spot potential problems, even find new crops that might be better for your area.
It's like having an agricultural advisor in your back pocket.
Yeah.
And it shows how committed the FAO is to not just developing this tech, but making sure everyone can actually use it.
Totally. And along the same lines, there's Project 11, the WaPOR portal, which focuses on water and how we use it, water productivity. This is a huge deal now, especially with climate change and water scarcity becoming, urgent problems.
Okay, WaPOR. Tell me more about that one. How are they using AI to monitor water use?
They're using satellite data and AI to keep track of how water is being used for agriculture, how efficient it is in different places. It's about figuring out where water is being used well and where we could be doing better.
So it's like a global water audit, showing us where we can be smarter about irrigation and conserving water. What kind of impact could this have?
It could be huge. Countries can use this data to invest in water-saving technologies, make irrigation better, even help farmers choose crops that are, better suited for where they live.
It's amazing how much we can learn just by looking down at the planet.
Mm.
But the FAO isn't stopping at collecting and analyzing data. They're also using AI to create these knowledge and advisory services that can really help farmers.
Right. They're going beyond just collecting data. They're turning it into useful insights and tools.
And this is where it gets really exciting. Tell me more about these, AI-powered advisory services.
Well, there's Project 3, ATIO AI, where they're putting together this huge knowledge base of all these agricultural technologies and innovations. Think of it like a giant library where you can find anything you need to know about the latest farming techniques, tools, breakthroughs, all that stuff.
It's like a one-stop shop for farming knowledge, all powered by AI. That changes everything for anyone involved in farming, researchers, policymakers, the farmers themselves.
Exactly. It's about making information and expertise open to everyone, and that's not all. Project 4 is all about exploring how large language models, what powers ChatGPT, can be used to give people access to the FAO's knowledge.
Wait, so you're telling me I could talk to an AI about my farm problems?
You could. Imagine asking it a specific question about, let's say, pest control or how to manage your soil, and you get a personalized answer. It's using the FAO's decades of research and experience. They're also exploring how to use these models to create interactive ways to learn and to translate all this complex stuff into simple language.
That's amazing. It could totally change how farmers learn and stay updated on the best ways to do things. And they're already doing this with their app, the Digital Services Portfolio app, right?
Yeah. In Project 6, they're using AI to create short and sweet messages for farmers, based on these complex technical documents. It's like getting a personalized newsfeed with only the important stuff for your farm and your area.
So instead of having to read those dense reports, a farmer could get a text on their phone saying, hey, watch out for this pest, here's what you do if you see it.
Exactly. It's about getting the right information to the right person at the right time in a way they can understand and use.
That's brilliant. And it seems like they're taking a similar approach with Project 7, which is all about, making animal feed better.
You got it. Project 7 uses AI to help farmers come up with the best food mix for their animals, considering what ingredients they have locally and what their animals need. It's like having a personal nutritionist for your livestock, helping you keep them healthy and productive.
Wow, the FAO is really pushing the limits of what AI can do for agriculture. But, with any new tech, there are going to be challenges and things they learn along the way.
Yeah.
What were some of the takeaways from the report?
One thing that comes up a lot is, how important it is to have real human experts. Even with the most advanced AI, you still need people who understand agriculture to guide its development and application.
It makes sense. AI can't just replace human knowledge and judgment.
Right. Like in Project 6 and 7, where they're using AI to summarize information and do calculations, they make it clear that humans still need to check things to make sure it's accurate. It's about using AI as a tool to make humans better, not to completely replace them.
And another challenge they talk about is the need for sustainable funding and, for people to actually use these technologies. It's not enough to just build great tools. We also need to make sure people can afford them, access them, and that they actually use them.
That's right. Like in Project 10, they talk about how hard it is to get people to actually use their app that's designed to detect fall armyworm. It just shows that technology is only one part of the solution. We need to consider human and societal factors too. They're critical for success.
It highlights the need for training, for support, for really empowering communities to use and benefit from these technologies. But it also brings up a bigger question. How do all these projects connect to the UN's bigger mission of creating a better world, a more sustainable and equitable world?
That's a great question, and it's something we'll definitely dig into. These projects aren't just cool tech demos. They're deeply tied to the UN's Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, which are basically a roadmap for a better future for everyone.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting. Let's explore how these AI projects are helping to achieve those goals. What can you tell us about that?
Well, one of the most impactful areas is SDG 1, no poverty.
Okay, I see the connection. How are these AI projects helping to, fight poverty?
By giving farmers the tools to be more efficient, more productive, and more resilient, a lot of these projects are focused on improving how we do agriculture, which directly leads to higher incomes and better lives, especially in developing countries.
It makes sense. If farmers can grow more food, have less loss, and get better prices for what they grow, it's going to help lift entire communities out of poverty.
Exactly. And that takes us to SDG 2, zero hunger. By increasing how much food we produce, reducing losses from pests and disease, and making the whole food system more efficient, AI can play a key role in making sure everyone has enough to eat.
So it's about how much food there is, but also the quality of that food, making sure it's the kind of food that helps people thrive.
Absolutely. And we can't talk about food security without talking about climate change, which is SDG 13. A lot of these AI projects are designed to promote farming in a way that's sustainable, that helps us deal with climate change and protect the planet.
Things like using water more efficiently, using less chemical fertilizer and growing crops that can handle the changing climate, they're all important for a healthier planet.
Exactly. And by using AI to monitor deforestation, track how we're using land, and assess how climate change is affecting agriculture, we can make smarter decisions about protecting our resources for generations to come.
It's amazing how these AI projects are hitting so many of the SDGs at the same time. It's like one good change leads to a bunch of other good changes.
You got it. And it's a good reminder that all these problems are connected. To fix them, we need a more holistic approach, and AI is a versatile tool in this effort.
This deep dive has really shown me the potential of AI to change agriculture. It's inspiring to see how the FAO is using this technology to make a real difference in the world. But, like with any powerful tool, there are ethical considerations we need to think about, right?
Definitely. While the potential benefits are huge, it's super important to make sure AI is developed and used responsibly. And that's something we'll definitely talk more about in the next part of our deep dive.
So we've talked about how the FAO is using AI to get all this data, analyze it, and even give advice to farmers. But I'm curious about how it all fits into the bigger picture. How does all this tech help the UN's mission of making the world a better place?
Well, remember those Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs. They're basically a plan for a more sustainable and equitable future, and these AI projects, they're a big part of that.
So it's not just about cool tech for the sake of it. It's about using AI to achieve those goals.
Exactly. Like, take SDG 1, no poverty. A lot of these projects have the potential to really help people's incomes and livelihoods, especially, for small farmers in developing countries.
When you help farmers be more productive and, resilient, you're not just helping them, you're helping whole communities.
That's it. And it goes hand in hand with SDG 2, zero hunger. If you can grow more food, reduce those losses from pests and all that, and make the whole food system work better, you're making huge progress towards ending hunger.
It's not just about, the amount of food, but making sure it's safe, nutritious, and that everyone can get it.
You got it. And of course, we can't talk about food without talking about climate change. SDG 13. Many of these AI projects are all about promoting sustainable farming, things that help us deal with climate change and protect the planet.
Like using water better, relying less on chemicals, and developing crops that can withstand the changes. Those are all super important for a healthier planet.
Absolutely. And AI can play a big role in monitoring deforestation, tracking how we're using land, and figuring out how vulnerable different regions are to climate change.
It's wild how all these AI projects are like tackling multiple SDGs at the same time.
Yeah.
It shows how interconnected all these issues really are.
Exactly. To really solve them, we need to take a more holistic approach. AI can be a really versatile tool for that.
It's mind-blowing to see how much AI can potentially change agriculture and make the future more sustainable.
It really is inspiring. But of course, with any powerful technology, we have to think about how we develop and use it.
You're right. We can't just assume AI is good or that it's going to fix everything. We need to be aware of the potential problems and make good choices about how to use it responsibly.
Right. And that brings us to responsible AI. There are a lot of important things to consider here, like fairness, transparency, and accountability.
Okay, let's break those down. What do you mean by fairness when it comes to AI?
It means making sure AI systems don't make existing inequalities worse, or even create new ones. For example, let's say an AI system for giving out loans is trained on data that has historical biases. It might unfairly deny loans to certain groups, like women or minority farmers.
That's a crucial point. We need to be careful that AI doesn't make existing biases worse if we're not careful.
And transparency is really important too. People need to understand how AI systems work, how decisions are made. If a farmer is denied a loan or their crops are flagged as risky by an AI, they should know why.
It's about building trust and making sure people feel like these systems are working with them, not against them.
Right, and accountability goes with transparency. If something goes wrong, if an AI makes a mistake or causes harm, we need to be able to figure out what happened and hold someone accountable.
So it's not about blindly trusting AI. It's about using it thoughtfully and responsibly and knowing its limits.
Exactly. AI is a powerful tool, but it's just a tool. It's up to us to use it wisely and ethically.
I'm glad you brought up those ethical concerns, because it's easy to get excited about this technology without thinking about the potential downsides.
It's natural to be optimistic about new tech, but we need to balance that with some healthy skepticism, some critical thinking.
It's not just about avoiding bad stuff. It's about making sure AI helps the people who need it most.
That's crucial. How do we make sure that these technologies are developed and used in a way that includes everyone, that they actually reach the people most affected by hunger, poverty, and climate change?
Those are some big questions. What can we do to work towards those goals?
Well, one important thing is capacity building, investing in training and education so people can use these technologies effectively.
That means teaching people how to use the tools, but also helping them understand the bigger picture of AI and how it can address the challenges they face.
Right. It's about giving people the power to be active participants in this tech revolution, not just passive bystanders.
And we also have to think about access. In a lot of parts of the world, internet access is still a huge barrier for using digital technology.
Definitely. If we want AI to benefit everyone, we need to address that digital divide and make sure everyone has the infrastructure they need.
Sounds like creating a more equitable and inclusive future with AI is going to take a lot of collaboration from governments, organizations, researchers, and communities.
It's a global issue that needs a global response. The FAO is doing important work in bringing everyone together to develop and use AI solutions responsibly.
What they're doing is really inspiring. It gives me hope that we can use AI to build a better world.
I'm optimistic too. There's so much potential, and it's exciting to see how this field is changing.
I wonder what our listeners think about all of this. What applications of AI in agriculture excite you? What concerns do you have? Share your thoughts with us on social media. We'd love to hear from you.
That's a great idea. It's important to have these conversations and get as many people involved as possible.
Well, I think it's time to wrap up this part of our deep dive. But don't worry, there's more to come. In the next part, we're going to look at some specific examples of how the FAO is putting these principles into action.
I can't wait. It'll be really interesting to see how these ideas are making a real difference in the world.
Stay tuned, everyone. The deep dive continues after a short break. All right, welcome back to the deep dive. We've been talking about how the FAO is using AI, to fight global hunger and create a more sustainable future for agriculture.
We've seen some really impressive examples of how AI can be used to gather data, analyze it, and even provide that personalized advice to farmers.
And we've talked about how important it is to use AI responsibly, ethically, making sure it's fair, transparent, and accountable.
But now let's get down to brass tacks. Let's see how the FAO is actually putting these principles into action.
I'm all for that. What kind of real-world impact are we talking about? Give us some examples.
Absolutely. One area where the FAO is making a real difference is in fighting those pests and diseases that can just devastate crops and livestock.
Yeah, those could be a huge problem for farmers, all over the world.
Exactly. And, the traditional methods for controlling them, they can be really time-consuming, expensive, and sometimes even bad for the environment.
So how is AI changing things?
Well, imagine you're a farmer in East Africa. You're dealing with the fall armyworm, which is a pest that can just wipe out entire fields of maize.
That sounds like a total nightmare.
It can be. But the FAO has developed this AI-powered app called phenology. It stands for Fall Armyworm Monitoring and Early Warning System.
Okay, that sounds promising. What does phenology actually do?
It uses AI to analyze photos that farmers and, extension workers send in to identify fall armyworm infestations.
Hold on, so farmers can just take a picture of their crops and get a diagnosis right away?
That's the idea.
Yeah.
And it works really well. The AI can identify those infestations with over 90% accuracy.
Wow, that's incredible. So what happens when they find an infestation?
The app gives farmers advice on how to deal with it, using methods that are good for the environment.
So instead of using harsh pesticides, they can use more targeted and sustainable approaches.
Exactly. And it's making a difference. phenology has been launched in over 30 countries in Africa, and it's helping farmers save their crops, which, is protecting their livelihoods.
That's a perfect example of how AI can empower farmers and make the food system more sustainable. What other real-world applications are out there?
Another area where AI is having a big impact is in livestock management. The FAO is using it to help farmers monitor the health and well-being of their animals.
Okay, so how does that work? Like AI Fitbits for cows?
Not quite, but it's a similar idea. Sensors and cameras can track things like how much the animals are moving, their temperature, their eating habits.
And then AI can analyze that data to spot potential problems.
Exactly. If an animal starts showing signs of being sick, the AI can alert the farmer so they can address it before it gets serious.
That could be a game changer for animal welfare and for farmers who depend on their livestock.
Absolutely. And AI can also help optimize breeding programs, improve nutrition, and even predict things like milk production.
Sounds like AI is revolutionizing every part of livestock farming.
It's definitely having a huge impact. And the FAO is working hard to make sure these technologies are available to farmers in developing countries too.
That's crucial. We talked about the digital divide and making sure everyone has access to these technologies.
Right, and the FAO is tackling this through all sorts of initiatives. Training programs, partnerships with local organizations, and they're developing AI tools that are low cost and easy to use.
It's great to see them putting those principles into action.
And it's not just about the technology itself. The FAO is also working to create the right environment for people to adopt AI.
What do you mean by that?
Well, it means addressing things like data privacy regulations, intellectual property rights, and setting ethical guidelines for developing and using AI.
So creating a framework that encourages innovation, but also make sure AI is developed responsibly and ethically.
Exactly. It's all about finding that balance between progress and responsibility.
This deep dive has been incredible, really eye-opening. I'm just amazed by the work the FAO is doing and how AI could change agriculture for the better.
I agree. It's an exciting time to be in this field. I can't wait to see what the future holds.
Me too. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, what are some of the key things you want our listeners to remember?
Well, the most important thing is that AI isn't a magic solution. It's a powerful tool, but it's only as good as the people using it.
It's a good reminder that technology can't replace human ingenuity, compassion, and working together.
Exactly. We need to approach AI with a bit of humility, recognizing its limitations and the potential for bias.
And we need to make sure that AI empowers people, not replaces them.
Absolutely. AI should be a tool for progress, not something that displaces people or creates more inequality.
It all comes down to us to shape the future of AI and make sure it's used for good.
That's right. We need to have open and honest conversations about the ethics of AI and work together to create a future where technology benefits everyone.
Well said. This deep dive has been a whirlwind of information and inspiration. I'm so glad we had you here to guide us through this complex and fascinating world.
It's been my pleasure to share these insights with you and our listeners.
And to our listeners, thanks for joining us on this journey. We hope you learned something new, and we encourage you to keep exploring the world of AI and its potential to change the world.
Keep those questions coming, keep learning, and keep pushing for a future where technology helps create a more just and sustainable world for all of us.
That's a great way to wrap things up. Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive.
Thank you for tuning into the solveforearth.ai podcast. We hope you're leaving with fresh insights and inspiration to take action and make a difference. Don't forget to follow us on YouTube, LinkedIn, and all our social media platforms for more groundbreaking discussions on how AI is shaping a better future. Together, we can drive real change for the planet and its people. Until next time, keep solving for Earth.